Nice to meet you.
I played against a couple of your guys. Good fun then.
Oh yeah, Marty. And
yeah. Different times.
Yeah.
2 different teams.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think Hal played with Bert 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played with Chen, I want to say, last year.
I think so. Yeah.
At Tahoe, and 2 years ago he was in Oakland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello America and curling fans from Canada and Newfoundland. This is your host Ryan Olson bringing you the latest action. It's Championship Sunday from the 2025 doubletakeout.com MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. We have a semifinal action between Team Malaret with the Red Rocks taking on Team Blacksher with the Yellows. Opening up with 2 guards with from Malaret. Looks like Blacksher was able to put up a center line guard. Not sure where the other rock went, as we see the second stones coming from Jeff Oviat for Team Malaret. The lead for Malaret was Skylar Anderson. I think they're going to try and draw around. This is looking a little light as Carl comes out to help sweep it to go the distance. And it looks like it's going to settle in the top of the rings, a little bit open. So I think it's a slight miss as Hal Brown is getting set in the hack for Team Blacksher. The lead for Team Blacksher is Marty Blomgren, if I remember correctly. Looking to peel the guard, or actually they're going to run their guard back into the pile, and it dislodges one of the red guards. So it was a good race takeout from Mr. Brown. The other semifinal on the ice is a contest between 2 oval teams. We have perennial contenders, Team Gilbert, taking on veteran and seasoned pro Ken Pomeroy in his rink. I will definitely keep you updated on the games in action as we see Jeff, I think, try the draw again. The weight's, I think, a little bit more on. It's just not curling back, I think, as much as they're expecting, although I think this is partially buried. And so Adam Blacksher has the broom down for Hal to, again, clear some of these guards. Another raised takeout. And another good shot there from Hal. We are keeping track of scores at Bondspieler. If you want to check the score on the other game, it's bondspieler.com. I will do my updates as I can. Obviously, there's a lot of moving pieces in a broadcast like this, so I will do my best. Also, we're going to see Trevor Dersch with his first for Team Malaret. There was a women's semifinal scheduled for this morning, but it was deemed not necessary because the double round robin between the three teams had a clear order of excellence, I guess, or a winning order, I suppose. Team Connolly won the women's championship for MoPac with a 3-1 record. Team Feldman finished 2-2. And Team Ewers was able to get a victory in their last game to help finalize the standings. So. And Team Connolly and Feldman are from wine country, and Team Ewers hails from OC curling. And Team Connolly is the first team from this event this weekend to get to the Arena National Championship, set for this fall at Curl Vegas, just outside of Las Vegas. They'll be joining two other MoPac teams that are going to be defending national champions, as Neil Hunter Smith is getting set for his first. We had 9 men's teams in the field to go with the 3 women's teams. And we had 2 pools, one pool of 4, one pool of 5. And then the top 2 winners from the pools advanced to the playoffs. And so we're seeing a 1-2 game. The top team from, I forget which pool, I don't want to guess, but Team Blacksher is the number 1 team from the other pool, and then Team Malaret's the number 2 seed from the other pool. Lots of rocks in play. Trying to see who has the advantage. I do want to note that Blacksher has the hammer. I had everything set up except for that. We didn't know who the hammer team was until they did the last stone draw to see which team would be closer to the center of the button, and it was Blacksher. So it looks like we're going to see some cleanup from Dersch. Going to hit the Blacksher rock in the rings. It's not going to roll, so it's going to just kind of hang out. And it looks like Blacksher's going to take that on. With Neil Hunter Smith's next rock. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's always great to have people tuning into our MoPac broadcast to see the competitiveness and excellent curling from our regional teams. So looking for a takeout from Neil Hunter Smith. He's gonna just flash everything. Unfortunate miss there from Hunter Smith. And it does give Malaret a bit of an out. There were, now we can see the rings more clearly. Malaret sitting 2 in the rings. And there does not, there looks like to be a Blacksher yellow just outside the rings. From this view, the over-the-shoulder view, it looks like it's not in, and then the overhead camera in the warm room makes it look a little more questionable. So speaking of the teams that already qualified for nationals, in addition to Team Connolly from wine country for the women, the defending national champions are Team Spangler from wine country representing the men. And representing the women are Team Aces, hailing from Silicon Valley Curling. So congratulations to them, and definitely hope to see a vigorous defense when they compete this fall at Curl Vegas at Arena Nationals. So we are to skip stones very quickly here as Carl Malaret pushes out from the hack. The Malaret rink plays out of the Oval Curling Club based at the Utah Olympic Oval, a speed skating lawn track venue from the 2002 Olympics. No matter how much we ask, they won't let us curl on the speed skating track for some reason. So Malaret is looking to put up a front stone. And looks like it goes just a smidge deep, so there might be a way. Oh, it looks frozen. So actually, that's a excellent outcome for Malaret. Makes the chances of a double a little bit harder. Although it looks like Blacksher could get both of these stones moving. I don't think, just when you look at this head-on view, that yellow that's kind of by Blacksher's feet, I think that's kind of blocking any like a double from that side. So I think they're just going to throw heat at this rock that Carl just put up. And I think at least unlock one of the reds and be sitting maybe second shot. They could also maybe spill into the rings. As Adam Blacksher is getting set. Adam Blacksher is playing out of the OC Curling Club. Not in Orange County. Just because of ice availability, they're playing in a ice arena in Long Beach, the LBC. That's the name of the city, not the name of the club. So it does unlock one of the reds, and so that's, I think, really kind of the best they could have done given the freeze that Malaret put down. There's a draw path to the left of Malaret and Derge, which is also the name of my barbershop quartet from college. Malaret and Derge, attorneys at law. So I think they're going to try and draw around. I would think that they could also put a stone right in front of Dersh, just slightly to the left of him from this view. And that way it just closes off that side entirely and would force Blacksher to make a really, really tough shot to score. Because there's a couple stones on the edges to do an in-off. Okay, so they're switching. And it looks like they are going to draw through that gap that I was looking at. So it's really great when the team on the ice makes me look smart. So this is going to be not a front stone necessarily, but he wants to keep it high in the house. Ideally counting, but not too deep. As Malaret's shot is away, going for the in-turn clockwise rotation. Weight looks decent, but also it's curling, and so there's a chance it's going to crash on the guard. And so maybe do a plan B and just kind of wick and roll over, but they don't want to roll over too much. And it looks like they do close the gap. That is the way to have missed by Malaret. So that is a good shot there. Full points for Hufflepuff. It's kind of fun guessing which Harry Potter houses everyone belongs to. We have our own little sorting hat. That'd be fun. It'd be a bit silly to say, hey, we're going to do a sorting ceremony before the tournament. So the broom is down for Adam. I think just looking to hit again. They have a chance for two here as Adam is going to throw some heat, run the yellow back onto the red and be sitting one, maybe two. Let's see what happens here with the hammer here in the first. So one goes away, the red, and they're going to take a look at it. It looks to be yellow. but we might have a measure. Oh no, they kicked the rocks, so we'll see what score they put up. But that, again, is kind of the best that they could do, and that is the positive outcome for Team Adam Blacksher. So while they take a pause in the action, we're going to step away briefly, and we'll be right back as we continue with our ongoing coverage of the 2025 DoubleTakeout.com MoPac Championships, coming to you live from Tempe, Arizona. And this event is being brought to you by DoubleTakeout.com. Throughout the competitive curling season, proprietor Ken Pomeroy updates the site with the latest results from competitive events, creating a unique system of ranking and analytics so you can see how your favorite team ranks against the competition around the world. DoubleTakeout.com. And by curling.gg. Test your skip skills against your friends online at curling.gg. Free online curling platform with real physics simulation. And by Endgame Curling. Endgame Curling. Unlock the next level with Endgame's leading edge curling brooms and accessories. EndgameCurling.com. Rocks in play. We're underway here in this second end as Marty Blomgren is going to, looks like, to throw a guard. And it looks like that guard was made. I apologize for the camera angles this morning. Had an abbreviated setup period, just given given my comment that who I was staying with in my ride. It's totally fine though. We'll make it work. As Skylar Anderson's looking to make this shot work. Marty was able to put up the guard. And that was a point of 1 for Blacksher in the first end. That means Team Malaret has the hammer. Skylar did put up the guard, didn't get back to the center line necessarily. But it's a good place as we see Marty with his next. So that does wick the guard. It pushes it open, so slightly. It looks like Styler's going to be asked to draw around the pile on the left side with the out-turn counterclockwise release. And that just comes up a little short. It can be used later in the end as a guard. It doesn't help the situation that much. As coverage of this end is being brought to you by DoubleTakeout.com. Just looking at the site right now, it's kind of cool. It shows how the top men's and women's teams perform based on various factors, including head-to-head against the top teams from other places in the world. And so you can see how Rachel Holman fared against the top 10 teams in the world, the top 25 teams in the world, and then everyone else. So it's all at DoubleTakeout.com. So we have a bit of a Christmas tree building up here. Lots of guards, nothing in the rings, and it looks like Jeff Oviat's being asked to change that around. sweeping for weight and line. So it's going to tap and raise it to the rings to the back 8 foot. So that was a good tap back by Mr. Oviet. So with all those guards in place, Hal Brown is being asked to open things up with his next shots. He's going to get one and opens things up. So it's like a good shot there by Mr. Brown. Thanks to everyone tuning in. I definitely appreciate the feedback in the YouTube channel. See some friends and family tuning in. As you see Jeff's next shot. Looking to, I think, see where the rock is. I think looking to shoot the gap that just got opened up by Brown. Crashes on the guard, promotes the yellow guard to the 8 foot. 4-second shots. So that might have been an okay plan B, just with the tough line and everything. So it looks like Blacksher has the broom down for Neil Hunter Smith to draw. Let's maybe time this and see how the ice's speed is working out today, especially with 2 fewer games on the ice. So we've seen kind of a range between about high 13 seconds to even like low 15 seconds to get to the tee. Throughout the weekend, this is going to be about 1581, and this is going to be reaching the top of the rings, I believe. No, not quite. So I think another 0.2 or 0.3 of a second would have been really awesome. So like I maybe pin that at about 15.4 right now tee weight. Trevor Dersh's stone. He's throwing a bit more pace. I think looking for a hit and roll on that wing. And it looks like it's going to hit. Not much roll. But the takeout was successful, and now Malaret is sitting 2. Let's see, updating the situation on sheet 1 in the oval clash. Clash of the ovals? I don't know. Trying to think of a good hype phrase for that. The first end is in the books. As Neil is getting set for a takeout of his own. On sheet A, Team Pomeroy started with a hammer and was forced to a single. Gilbert has the hammer in the second end. Lots of action. That does hit and it does roll. But it does roll through the back of the rings, and I think might hang on. Just by a sliver, perhaps. It's hard to tell from the overhead. But it's still a really good outcome for Team Blacksher. And we are keeping track of scores at bondspieler.com. So Dersha's next rock. Crashes on the guard, so just can't find the right line through the port. So we're to skip stones. Now it looks like they're going to draw, maybe tap up the yellow that they have on the right wing. We'll see in just a moment. Right now it's Malaret sitting 1, and Blacksher has a stone that's on the wing that might be able to be pushed up past the guard. Got a little bit of pepper on that salami though, and it's going to go through the rings out of play. So a good effort there by Adam, just a little heavy. And there's a port there now. So they're talking about whether to, I think, hit and roll or just draw under. I would tend to draw under and just not risk opening. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want to risk opening things up, and so that maybe the hit and roll might be the shot, because if you try to draw under and you are light or the line is too tight, it might crash into the guard. So it looks like they are set up to do the hit and roll, and I think the pros there are maybe a little bit stronger. I mean, if he misses and hits the stone on the wrong way, it could open up that side a little bit more. But then the draw hopefully will be a little bit easier for his last. It might be a little easier than to try to tuck under the guard. A lot of times you want to leave the other team the harder shots. So I guess we'll see how this unfolds for Carl Malaret for his Oval Curling Club team. Looking for a hit and roll. Sweepers are called off. Line looks pretty good. They're working to hold, Stallers are trying to hold the line. Could have maybe curled like another couple inches. But that was the way to miss, I think. Because now the port is super narrow. And Malaret's done a really good job of controlling the front, because if you look at the front of the house in the guard zone, there are 5 Malaret guards, all behind the 2 Blacksher guards. So there's no way that Blacksher can raise one of their yellows up to scoring position. So Blacksher's really going to have to probably try to either try to concede a single point, like maybe blocking the tap on that right side, or what they're going to do is draw. Adam Blacksher gets set. Last rock without the hammer here in the seconds. We're going to time this, see what we have in terms of time. This is, looks like it's out a little bit, and it's heavy. We have like 11:72. So Malaret's looking to tap the red in, and then also, it's not a trick shot necessarily, but there's a finesse shot called a split, or so you basically hit the red at the right angle, so to get that into the rings, and then you roll your shooter into the rings. it's a shot that can be made with some accuracy. And then also, I guess the miss is just hitting one in for the second point. So they're going to go for the split. And I would tend to agree with Blacksher's shot selection. And I say that because you look at the house here, there's many ways that Malaret can raise a rock to the rings. And Blacksher can only take one of those away. And so it makes sense to, I think, try to put one in on their own. And unfortunately, it wasn't there. So this is the last rock from Malaret with the hammer for this second end. So looking for a split, looking pretty good. We're going to see the red get raised, and then the shooter's going to roll into the rings for that third point. That is a beauty right there. High fives all around for Team Malaret for a score of 3. So looking for a split, looking pretty good. We're going to see so looking at this replay, just really well done there by Malaret. And that concludes our second end. Malaret with the hammer converts with a 3 spot to take a 3-1 lead over Team Blacksher. But Blacksher has the next crack at the hammer when we come back to the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by Curling.gg. Looking at sheet A, as we get started with the third end on our feature sheet, it looks like someone's in front of the scoreboard and I can't see. I thought so. I just wanted to be sure. So both teams were forced to singles when they had the hammer. Pomeroy started the scoring with a single in the first, and Team Gilbert was forced to a single in the second. And so that makes the score 1-all on our second semifinal. And more information is at bonspieler.com. And Skylar does put up the center guard. We're observing the no tick rule for the first 5 rocks of an end. And that basically means an opposing team cannot dislodge a center line guard off the line until after the 5th rock at the ends. If they do, the non-offending team has the choice to either let the rocks stay where they played out, or remove the offending stone and reset the guard. And it's an extension of the 5 rock free guard zone rule that governs the guard zone, the space in front of the house. And it's a rule that's been in place since the late 80s, early 90s, I want to say, where it was geared to generate some more offense. It started with a 3 rock rule in Canada and a 4 rock rule everywhere else, and now we're all on a 5 rock rule. So looking for hits, a little bit of a roll perhaps. Yes, indeed. And that was a hit well executed by Skylar Anderson. And coverage of this end is being brought to you by Curling.gg. For stips and curlers who love a good game, Curling.gg is your ultimate practice tool. Free, easy, and all about strategy. Visit Curling.gg to test your skills right now. And so Blomgren is asked to do a takeout of his own, and mission accomplished. It is now a single Blacksher rock in the rings. It's crazy with all the multitasking that we do behind the scenes. It's very much a one-person show in terms of the stream, although there's a lot of volunteers here to make sure everything else happens seamlessly and without apparent flaws. Or if something comes up, it's taken care of. It's great. But it seems to have been smooth sailing this weekend, which is a good thing. Sounds like contact is made. The shooter's going to stick around to be shot. So we're trading hits here. Part of America's Top 40, which is a reference for older people. Including me, because I'm an older person. Hal Brown gets set. I do have to say that I needed a ride this morning, which led to some of the camera setup stuff, but it was nice to have a ride because walking to the club in 88-degree weather is maybe not the funnest thing in the world. It's been hot here, but the action's been even hotter on the ice as Hal Brown looks to have ticked the guard. Net struck coming from Jeff Oviet. This looks like it's going to crash into the guard. And it does. So that draw round is not successful. So looks like Hal Brown's going to be asked to take out the red rock in the rings. Looked good out of hand. Let's see if it stays on track. It's hanging out a little bit, but it looks like it's going to just flashes. Bit of an unlucky miss, so it allows Malaret to kind of have the momentum in this end, or the advantage. They don't have the hammer, but they have a rock in the rings. I think they're looking at drawing, and like maybe if they tick off of the red shot stone, that's not a bad outcome. So Skylar's called on it right out of hand. Called the switch. Now they're trying to push over. Looks like it might be through the ports. Going to get a little bit of that wick that they wanted, and it's going to roll towards the center top 4 foot. Well managed shot, good weight, good line from Trevor, and the sweepers helped put it right into where they wanted it. And so now Blacksher is looking to clear the guards to try to force their way open and have a shot, especially with Malaret sitting 2. I was wondering where the music's playing. I accidentally hit the play button on my laptop. I'm sorry. Say, hey, this music's pretty good. All right, so looking to clear the front. He's going to do 1 red, and that seems to be all. But still a good shot there. Let me turn off the classical music I was enjoying. There we go. Also, the music in the club is usually kind of more contemporary music. So, why do they switch to Brahms? So it looks like Dersh is being asked to draw and put up a front stone. I think maybe kind of tuck around the guards, but stay high in the house or in the guard zone. I will be annoyed if we get a copyright strike for that music, though. All right, so this is looking pretty good. The weight maybe just a smidge high. No, I think it was just a little tight on the line. It crashes on the guards. So, and then the shooter rolls away. So that does not help the situation. Although it's there's still enough cover from the guards that Blacksher is asking Neil to do another clearing shot. And also they can maybe do a run back. Run the yellow back onto the red. That might seem to be one of their options. Just kind of based on some of the rocks in the rings. Depending on how Hunter Smith hits it, they can jam a yellow on one of the reds. So this line is looking like it's going to get one of the yellows moving. They might get a little lucky, and they do. One of the yellows spins on top of the red in the 12-foot. Essentially replaces it as the red goes to the edge of the 12-foot. So right now it's Malaret sitting 1 and 3 with Blacksher sitting second shot, well buried under a corner guard that kind of happened to roll into place with Neil's shot. So great outcome there for Neil Hunter Smith. That's 2 good clearing shots in a row. We're playing 8 ends of regulation. If the game is tied, we do an extra end. These games are being tied. You can see behind Skylar a clock that's counting down whenever the team has their turn to throw. The clock starts when their turn begins, and then it ends when the person throwing the stone crosses that hog line, the center of the house, from that delivery end of the sheet. And so they have 30 minutes to play 8 ends. It's roughly about 3.5 minutes or so. They have reference sheets on the ice to let people know what time they should have after every end. So Dersh is looking for a draw. I think like a front stone or a freeze. Carl does like freezing or stones tight to each other, especially when he's in a situation to steal. And this rock is going to settle as a front stone, so that looks like a good shot from Malaret. Freeze is regarded as one of the harder shots in curling. It seems like it'd be easy, right? Just kind of throw a draw and make sure it has the right weight to sit right on top of another stone. But it's a lot harder than it looks. Because if you're too light, it's not a freeze. If it's too heavy, it taps the other stone back, and that can lead to some weird angles and make the shot, make it easier for the other team or just make it harder for you. So there's a little bit of a separation there, and so Adam Blacksher is going to go for the takeout, maybe a run back double with his first with the hammer here in this third end. Looks like, oh. I want to see the replay. I say I want to see the replay because this first with the hammer here in this third end. I'm not sure what they were going for. They were going for the takeout. It just crashed on the guard. Okay. I just wanted to be sure what happened. So that was a miss, and now Malaret is sitting. The situation in the rings is unchanged. Malaret is sitting 1-3, Blacksher sitting 2, and it looks like Malaret wants to put a second counting stone in. So as part of the event, we do have a break after the fourth end. It's our halftime show. And this halftime show is going to be a tribute to that one time at a Diamondbacks game where a beehive just like sprung up before the game right behind the dugout. It was pretty crazy. It definitely is worthy of commemoration. And that's part of the fourth end halftime show in the warm room. We're going to have lots of bees in the warm room, but you won't be able to see it because we don't have any cameras in the warm room. So Malaret's looking to draw to sit a second shot. Plan B is to be a little light and help prevent the draw pass. You don't want to give backing for Blacksher to get to, although forcing Blacksher to single would not be a bad outcome. So that looks like a good shot there from Malaret. Maybe a little deeper than he would have liked, but you're looking at like a foot or two of tolerance there. Basically, let me show you the this over shoulder view. You can see I said about 2 feet of tolerance because you have that yellow on the left 12 foot, and then you have the shot stone on the edge of the 4 foot, and you don't want to set up a double. So there really was a very narrow window for Carl to draw to, and it looks like he made it. So we're looking for a hit and roll from Adam Blacksher for a single point in the third end. Sweepers are working to push it over. Is it going to be there? It looks pretty close. You can see it curling. It's going to hit, and we're going to see a little bit of a roll. Now the question is, how far does it go? It's going to go to the back 12 foot, and it's going to be a steal of 1 for Team Malaret. Extend their lead to a 4-1. Blacksher will have the hammer when we come back for the fourth end as part of the 2025 DoubleTakeout.com MoPac Championships, coming to you live from beautiful Tempe, Arizona. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the game. We hope you'll tune in for the championship game set for about 12:25, 12:30 this afternoon, live from the Coyotes Curling Club. It's been a great weekend. We've had so many volunteers from the club being here. It's been a great weekend, and you definitely appreciate the hospitality and the warmth extended by the Coyotes personnel, including the ice. The ice has been beautiful this weekend. So it looks like sheet A is also about to start their fourth end. Waiting to see a score being posted, but it looks like Gilbert might be going first. And as Malaret is going first here on our feature sheet, we will keep you updated on the score when we get it. Looks like Skyler is being asked to draw in as a tight guard or a nibbler, and it actually settles in, I think, close to full 12 foot. But that's a pretty good place to put it. As we see Marty Blomgren with his first. Marty's been curling for 6 years. He says his best skill in curling is hitching his cart to strong horses, which I presume to mean that he finds good teams to join, and hopefully makes a strong contribution. He's had some good shots this tournament, as he is able to put up the corner guard pretty tight to the rings. So Skyler Anderson has been curling for 3 years. He is a correctional deputy who at first had little interest in curling. During the 2022 Beijing Winter Games, his coworkers would watch curling late at night, as it was one of the only sports on TV, and that they eventually convinced him to join a Learn to Curl session. And what started as a fun way to spend time with friends quickly turned into a deep passion, as Skyler signed up for a league and began competing in bonspiels dedicated himself to studying the game and rapidly improving his skills. And that was a beauty shot there from Skylar, drawing around his own stone to sit buried. It looks like in the 4-foot ring, in the top of the 4-foot. So Malaret without the hammer is doing what teams usually do, is a sound, solid strategy. You want to control the front of the rings and the center of the house if you don't have the hammer, and that is it's a winning strategy, which is why people do it. And so it draws play to the center, and it makes it hard for the other team to score multiple points. Looks like Marty's going to try to draw around the cornered guard that he put up. And it's really great shots by both leads. That settles in the edge of the 4-foot. So Malaret is going to look to try to make a play on that. So conversely, if you do have the hammer, you want to draw play to the wings to kind of secure a point or two there, and then leave the center open for a second or multiple points. And that, I mean, both teams are playing textbook strategy and they're executing it. So it looks like Jeff Oviatt was asked to draw on top of Marty's stone. And looking pretty good. It's going to roll towards the center. It looks pretty good. I think just based on the angles and the line, that was the way to do it. Sorry, I just thought of the line from Punch and Judy where one of the characters says, like, that's the way to do it. That was indeed the way to do it. So Hal Brown is next out of the hack. He's been curling for 4 years. He appeared at the 2023 Arena Playdowns at San Francisco Bay Area, playing lead. He doesn't recall how it finished. Oh, that was a beauty shot there. I want to see the replay on that. Hits and then rolls towards the center. He appeared at the 20. So sweepers are working to hold the line, and is able to hit the red stone and then roll on top or roll next to the other shot stone, and is really well buried. So great shot there. As Jeff's net stone is away. So it looks like they're going to run the guard back. It doesn't run it back. It kind of slaps it, and then I don't know if it was the guard or the shooter that went to the back, but it basically opens things up. So I think Malaret was kind of moving from the strategy of clogging up the center to try to get the shot stone. So not a bad shot by Jeff. Net start coming from Hal. This is a draw. Down 4-1. I think Blacksher wants to just kind of pile stones in, and then at some point, tap the red out. Kind of working on some of the angles here. And I think there's a double there, which is my catchphrase that pays. Because if he hits the inside of the yellow, the left yellow, and then spins on top of the other yellow, both rocks should go away. And I think at the very least get rid of one of the yellows. There's a disaster shot where it over curls and runs the yellow back on the red. But you're kind of trading rocks, or moving rocks around. Maybe not the worst outcome. Asked to sweep right out of hand. Jeff's really working to hold the line. It's going to get one. It jams on the red, and the red that goes back through the house, out of play. So a good outcome. Not a double takeout, but it does accomplish the goal of opening things up. So now it is Blacksher sitting 1 with Malaret having the second and third stones. That seems to have been probably the more likely outcome for that shot. Sometimes you watch curling on TV, it's like, oh, I can make that shot, or if you make it perfectly, that's what happens. But if you don't make it perfectly, there's a more likely outcome that we've seen. As Neil Hunter Smith, the lefty, is getting set to deliver. He's been curling for just 18 months, and yet has considerable bond skill and competitive experience, including being at Arena Playdowns last year, playing for Team Barents out of OC Curling. Reached the semifinals at Club Playdowns with Team McBride. He was playing lead. Justin McBride is here for Team Blacksher this weekend as a 5th. Also an informal coach. And it's like, I see the doubles there. There's a good draw there by Neil Hunter Smith. Not quite a freeze, but it definitely puts another counting stone in the range for Team Blacksher. And Jerry's just going to be asked to just hit it out. And Skylar's jumping on the line right out of hand. And it's looking okay to get 1. Oh, it crashes on the red. But he had enough pace to move the red aside and then jam the yellow into yellow, making one of the yellows go away. So a good outcome, opening the rings again. The situation in terms of numbers is the same. Blacksher sitting 1, and Malaret has shots 2 and 3. But some good shots, opening up the center. And it's kind of the opposite of what I was saying earlier, where you want to have the team without the hammer have control of the center, and then have the team without the with the hammer, try to draw play toward the edges of the sheets to have multiple points. It's Malaret who has the multiple points on the edge of the sheet, and Blacksher is controlling the center right now. It's pretty fascinating. On sheet A, the other men's semifinal between Team Gilbert and Team Pomeroy, both teams from the Oval. It's I'm trying to remember what they call the game between BYU and University of Utah. It's the because they're brothers, and so that's the reference. The name has a reference to that. But Oval brothers are clashing. As we see Neil Hunter, he's going to try that draw again. So trading singles back and forth, a pretty defensive game it appears. Pomeroy was forced to a single in the third end and currently has a 2-1 lead over Gilbert. The hammer is in the hands of Gilbert in this fourth end. And they're going to take a break in just a couple stones. So it's a pretty open house. Gilbert looks to be sitting 2. I say that, but it looks like Pomeroy was able to draw down with some weight and discard 1 yellow and sits on top of the other yellow. So Pomeroy is sitting 1, it appears. So that stone from Neil Hunter Smith turned into a front stone. So looks like they're going to try and run the yellow back onto the shot stone to open it up. And I'm going to say it, I think the double's there. One of the games last night, there was like doubles happening every end. It was a beauty to see. So Malaret's rocked us away, looking for some takeouts and maybe some moo-goo guy pan. So it does clear the guard. So now Blacksher is sitting 1, has a chance for 2 or multiple points. And looks like they're going to try and put another stone right down the center, protect their shot stone, maybe sit two when it's said and done. I'm curious if they would want to maybe try to split the rings, and that way they're at least, be assured likely to. Adam Blacksher notes that he's an avid angler who usually doesn't catch anything. He's been curling for 7 years. His experience includes the Rising Stars 5 and Under National Qualifier in 2022. Also went to 5U Nationals that year. Won the Ball Bonspiel at Oakland with Team Out, Turn for You. Also played with Team Barrent at the 2023 MoPac Men's Club Playdowns. And this is looking okay. It's third shot. And that's why I said looked okay, because it didn't come back and it's not counting. But it could be brought into play later in the end. So the broom's down for Malaret to just pop out the shot stone. I think a little roll buried would be a great plus. As Carl's been curling for about, I would say, 10 years. He doesn't note that, but he started playing in the after the 2002 Olympics, and then took a break after 2006 and came back in about 2019. So he gets the shot stone, and it rolls to the wing for another counting stone. So that was a great shot there from Carl. Sorry I missed the cameras. The push button wasn't working quite as well as I would have liked. But a well executed hit from Malaret. In the chat, David Hernandez notes that Hal finished in the semifinals during the 2023 Arena Playdowns, and David says that he remembers that because Hal had a very handsome second named David, and just based on the emoji, I'm assuming that David Hernandez was indeed the David in question. So looking for a draw for one. Given they're down 3, so there could have been a possible split, and they might be going for that actually. Kind of hit the inside of the yellow, and okay, so it's past the yellow, or wicked off the yellow briefly, and then rolled back towards the center for that single point. So excellent execution. 4-1. So they will close within 2, but Team Malaret holds a 4-2 lead as we go into the 4th end break. So we're going to take a pause in the action. We'll be right back for second half play in just a moment when we continue with the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by Curling.gg. And ongoing coverage of this event is being brought to you by DoubleTakeout.com, featuring insights and analytical information from Ken Pomeroy, updated throughout the competitive season. Viewers can see how their favorite team ranks against the top men's and women's teams from around the world. DoubleTakeout.com. And by Curling.gg. Next time you're confused on ice, take a photo, recreate it on Curling.gg, and try multiple outcomes. It's the only platform that lets you take a shot, undo, and try again. Curling.gg. And by Endgame Curling, manufacturers of the Endgame Icon and Endgame Origin brooms, featuring eco-friendly fabric replacement, innovative locking and sliding position, a large radius sliding bar, adjustable pivot resistance, and a quick disconnect broom head. Unlock your potential with the curling broom that's right for you. EndgameCurling.com. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We have some pretty exciting games on the ice, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And we're back to second half action at the semifinals at the 2025 MoPac Championships presented by curling.gg. An update on our other men's semifinal. After trading singles back and forth, Gilbert converted the hammer with a 3 spot in the fourth end to go up 4-2 over Pomeroy. A very tight game happening on sheet A. Marty's rock is away to start the action in the fourth end on our feature sheets. And just again to recap, these are the winners of the pools, the 2 pools for men's Playdowns. Gilbert and Malaret were the winners of the pool 1. And it looks like Blonder was able to put up a center start, not on the center line. It's a smidge high. And so it looks like, I think Skylar is being asked to draw around or put up a center guard. This might bite the top of the rings. It's the center guard. So Gilbert was the 1 seed, Malaret was the 2 seed. They're crossing over to play the winners of the second pool, pool 2. Blacksher was the 1 seed and Pomeroy was the 2 seed. But I think the seeding was determined by the draw shot challenge, which is whoever gets closest to the button. Every one of those shots before the game is measured and totaled up. And Blacksher just had the only the lowest draw shot challenge in the event. And how Malaret got into the playoffs, there were 5 teams in Pool 1, and as we see, Blomgren drew in. A little exposed, so Malaret's going to ask Skylar to take it on. So in Pool 1, there was a 3-way tie for second. And the first tiebreaker is head-to-head, and each team had won 1 and lost 1 against the other teams. Oh, and that was pretty good there from Skylar. Going to tap the yellow back to the 8-foot, and then the shooter's going to roll towards the 4-foot, but still stay in the 8-foot ring. It looks pretty close, but it appears that Blacksher is shot for now. And Hal Brown is being asked to likely draw on the other side.
Did you see that? What? Just fell. I think you lost some weight, maybe a little more.
Looks like it's a little light, so it's going to be a guard. It crashes on the center guard, but it doesn't dislodge it, which is good because that is the 5th rock at the end. And so Jeff Oviat's being asked to tap the yellow out, as coverage of this end is being brought to you by Endgame Curling. It crashes on the guard. Endgame Curling elevating the standard for high performance brooms. Manufacturers of the travel handle a full carbon fiber handle engineered for convenience and fits most carry-on baggage. And it's also compatible with the heads of other curling broom brands at endgamecurling.com. So Jeff's draw crashes on the guard. So I think it might be opening up shots as Hal Brown is looking to, I think, heavy draw on top of the Malaret red. Makes contact. And the shooter's going to stick around for a second shot. So Jeff very quickly pushes out. During the fourth end break, they expressed a little concern about the time. When we come back, when we switch back to the delivery hatch, you can see that they are a smidge tight on time. And that takeout attempt, very successful. It gets both yellows moving. One yellow is completely gone. One is hanging on the edge of the 12, and then the shooter itself rolls to the edge of the 12 foot, or full 12 foot on the right. So a good shot there. We are to third stones with Neil Hunter Smith getting in the hack. You can see that they are a little tight on time because they ideally wanted to end the fourth end with about 15 minutes on the clock, and so they're both under 14 minutes. Although it looks like Malaret has just under 14 minutes, so they seem to be a little bit better on the time. So on pool one, it was a three-way tie for second place, and it came down to the draw shot challenge, and Malaret had the lowest amongst the three and also the rest of the pool. And that's how they're able to advance. Now, there was a situation where, as we see, Neil Hunter Smith puts up a guard. I think they really wanted a draw there. It does kind of make it harder to put a rock into the center of the house. So all the games mattered in the last game of pool play, because depending on the outcome of the games, there was a situation where another team would have been 2-2, and that team had the head-to-head advantage and would have advanced to the semifinals. So all the games really mattered, which is awesome. And then on in the men's pool 2, Team Blacksher was the winner. Pomeroy was kind of on the bubble, as this rock is. It's just a smidge heavy, and it's going to go through the rings out of play. Just a unfortunate miss there from Pomeroy. Sorry, Pomeroy from Dersh. So Pomeroy is on the bubble, and then based on the last game of men's pool 2, I think Lazarevich won, and that was able to put Pomeroy up top into the second spot. So that's how the men got there. And then for the women, they played a double round robin between the three teams. And at the end of it, there was clear standings. Connolly of Wine Country was first and the regional champion with a 3-1 record. Team Feldman was second with 2-2, and Feldman from Wine Country. Team Ewers, hailing from OC Curling, was 1-3 and was third. So both teams are trying the draws, and it seems to be maybe a little speedy down this path, although the weight for Neil is pretty on the money, as it's going to settle in the back 8 foot and be shots. So Malaret could choose to draw down to it or just draw in front of it as Dersh gets set. So Styler's being asked to hold the line. It's hanging out there, so yeah, they definitely needed to pass the guard. It skims past the guard, and now they're off. Just let it sit in the edge of the 4 foot, full 4 foot. So well-managed draw. You could definitely, you may have heard some yelling on the ice. Communication is so key for this game of curling and like clutch shots like that by Dersch. And so now the question is, how does Blacksher respond? So with that draw, it's setting up to be a possible 2 for Malaret. There's a possibility of Malaret doing like a heavy draw to tap that yellow back to bring that red on the right back into play. As Neil gets set. Looking to do the draw of their own. Trevor's shot was incredibly tight to the guard. So we'll see if following a similar line will yield a similar result. Marty's sweeping the heck out of it. It's a bit wide, so it's going to get past the guard. It's going to wick the red closer to the button. And then the shooter's going to roll wide. And so Malaret has, I think, a hit and roll. And I'm going to say it, I think the double's there. I don't think they're going to take the double on because it doesn't help them too much. I think in order to make the double, they would need to hit the first yellow pretty thick on this towards the center. And it's not worth it. I just enjoy saying I think the double's there. All right, so we are set up for a hit and roll as Malaret gets set in the hack. Not a lot of ice, so he's going to throw a bit of heat at this. Some salami pepper heat, as we like to say. This is going to be close. So they made the double. Let's check out that replay brought to you by doubletakeout.com. So the line looked pretty good. And trying to find the right angle. It hits the red right where I thought they needed to hit it, and they made the double. And that double takeout was brought to you by doubletakeout.com. Oh my goodness. So now Malaret is sitting 3, but that red is exposed to the wing, and so now Blacksher does have a hit and roll to maybe get out of this end without giving up a big score. So we're going to see if Blacksher has some of that Blacksher magic. This is looking tight to the guard, and it's going to crash on the guard, unfortunately. So, unfortunate miss there from Adam. And so now Team Malaret has 3 in the hand, looking for that 4th in the bush, and to take a fairly commanding 8-2 lead over Team Blacksher. Just a really interesting end as it unfolded. And we're going to see Malaret with his last rock to draw for 4. Styler saying no sweep, no sweep. And there's a little bit of backing if they can get back to the red. But this is carrying, and it might just go past everything. Oh, they may have swept it to maybe wick and roll. Goes to the rings, out of play. But they do get their 3 spots to take a 7-2 lead over Team Blacksher. So pausing the action. We'll be right back as we continue with this very interesting semifinal game. Coming to you live from Tempe, Arizona. before we get started on, I don't know what gesture that Trevor just made. Updating the other men's semifinal action. Palmero is forced to a single, so they are within one of Team Gilbert. But Gilbert has the hammer in this sixth end, as it is a 4-3 game between the two teams hailing from the Oval Curling Club of Utah. I do this disclaimer whenever Oval teams are playing. I also play at the Oval. It's my home club, and I've played with or against these teams at various times, but I do my best to not let that affect my broadcast. Even though we know one team is better than the others. That's a joke. So with a 5-point lead, Styler is asked to throw into the rings. Settles it in the back. So it's a little bit deeper than I think they would have wanted. Marty's going to look to put up a corner guard with the outturn counterclockwise rotation. It's looking pretty good. And it looks like Carl's asking Styler to put up a center line guard. Coverage of this end is being brought to you by doubletakeout.com. In addition to offering rankings and statistical insights, proprietor Ken Pomeroy offers a Substack blog newsletter with his thoughts about the competitive curling world and the nature of competition and his process. doubletakeout.com. So looking for a center guard from Skyler. Looks like that was close to being made. A little bit of a gap in the back. So as Marty gets set for his next throw, just looking at the shot selection, I didn't get everyone's first shot, but Marty has thrown mostly guards. He's thrown one hit, and when he was asked to throw the hit, he made it. Otherwise, most of Marty's shots are either full points or just one off of the top mark. So definitely, I would put him in the high 80s, low 90s in terms of scoring shots. And just to recap how we score shots, and I'm doing this informally. This is not an official document, but basically, we look to see the shot that's picked, the rotation that is asked for, and if they make the shot or not. And you assign a score of 0 for absolute miss, and then a score of 4 for a total make, absolutely made. And so Marty's made most of his shots, lots of 4s and 3s. And we're going to see this draw here from Jeff with the outturn counterclockwise rotation. Looking to draw around the pile. It looks like it's tight to the guard, and it does crash on the guard. And so I would maybe mark that as a 1 or a 2. There's a whole criteria that's applied, saying like this is how, if this happens, it's a 1. If this happens, it's a 3 or a 2. And for skips, it's really hard because when points are on the line, either you make it and score, or you don't make it and you don't score. So it's either a 4 for you made it or a 0 for a total miss, and there's no in between really. So Hal Brown's looking to draw around. Weight looks pretty good. It looks like it's on the guard though, so it's going to crash and roll into the gap. And so again, it's like, how do I score that? It doesn't. It slightly worsens the situation, so I think that's a 1. There's still a port for Jeff to draw through, and that's where Carl has the broom. And Jeff has thrown almost like lots of draws. He's been asked to do a take back once, and he's asked to do a couple takeouts and clearing actions. peeling the guard. So in this case, he hit his own stone and was able to roll in. I want to see that again. He has to do a take back once, and he's asked to do a couple takeouts and clearing actions, peeling the guard. So in this case, he so didn't quite see what happened, but I mean, it was a good shot. So I would maybe mark that as a tap back and definitely improve the situation. So for Hal, he's thrown a pretty good mix of both draws and takeouts, mostly takeouts actually, as he's being asked to do some clearing here. Runs the red back into the rings, otherwise pushes a lot of yellows out of the way, so opens up the front. I think just given all the pile of stones, that's probably the best he could have done. But also Malaret is sitting 3, so it's hard to give him full marks for that. But Hal's actually thrown, I think, more takeout shots. And on those takeouts, he's been pretty solid. Only one outright miss on the takeout. And for Trevor Dersch, as his shots away. Looking to put up a front stone, I believe. As the sweepers just walked it down. Dersch has thrown about half and half draws versus takeouts, and that front stone there covers about half of the shot stone. So maybe mark that a 3. So we're going to see Neil's next shot. It's first of the end. And Neil started off being asked to hit a decent amount, and then it shifted to all draws. And this looks to be a draw here. Neil again has also only seemed to have missed one shot outright. That was a takeout in the first. Sweepers are on it. I think this is looking to be a draw, but this seems to be on the guard that Trevor just put up. So Blacksher has the hammer, and they're looking for a way into the rings at this point. So Dersch's next shot. Looking to put up another front stone, I believe. I think just a little further wide, a little further out to kind of make the draw path a little bit harder. Dersch has thrown mostly out turns, the counterclockwise rotation, as he is right now. Only asked to do the in-turn clockwise rotation twice, and this is a front stone guard. And that shot appears to be made, as it does make that draw path even harder to make. And then speaking of rotational selection, Neil has been asked to throw the out turn most of the time, only counting 3 in turns, as he's going to throw an out turn here. And then Neil did mention he's been curling for 18 months. And also that kind of comes to the fore when in these clutch moments, to see if they've been able to deal with the stress and the tension of a playoff like this. This has been a pretty tight semifinal game. Unfortunately, Neil's shot was just a smidge heavy and goes through the rings out of play. A couple of rare misses for the device of Team Blacksher. Both teams have a timeout. Neither team has called their timeout yet. It's in 90 seconds total. That includes the time for the coach, if available, to get to the ice. And sometimes you think about when to call a timeout. It's some curlers note they call a timeout, and the coach comes out and says, like, you should have called the timeout like 4 shots ago, because there's nothing there now. But the coaches can't call the timeout themselves. So with Malaret having pretty firm control of the center of the sheet, he's looking to put up a guard or a front stone towards the front of the rings. This is going to be a little bit heavy, but sweepers didn't touch it, so it's going to settle in just outside the house. So a good stone. Carl likes to throw more weight, but he can dial it back down when he needs to. So looking at shot selection for Adam Blacksher. He's thrown more, it's about 50-50, I would say. Throwing takeouts when he needs to, but settling for draws to try to place rocks into scoring position or to cut down the other team. Like I was saying, for skips it's tough because either you make the shot and it's full points, or you don't and it's a 0. So looking at the numbers roughly, I would say he's about 65%. So Blacksher is trying to draw. Speaking of trying to find a place to put a stone, this is actually looking really good for Blacksher as it settles in the 8-foot, just outside the 4-foot. And that was an in-turn. He's thrown about 2/3 out-turns, 1/3 in-turn. It's a little exposed. Let's check the over-the-shoulder view here. Let me show you the over-the-shoulder view here. And it looks like Carl's going to try and tap it out. There's a danger of a jam in the back. However, whatever jam happens, there's that red up top that would out-count it. Most likely, this is a bit of a dangerous shot, depending on the weight that Carl throws. But this is his last shot without the hammer here in the 6th end. It's hanging out wide. And it's just going to go past everything. So, unfortunate miss there from Carl, who has thrown about half hits and half draws. He's made most of them until that last one. And then also he had a miss on a draw in his last, or in the last end. So definitely put him in the high 80s, I would think. But Adam Blacksher is pushing out of the hat. They're going to do the same draw for 2. Going to claw into the lead that Carl and Team Malaret has. They are noting it's heavy. It does look that way, but there is some backing, so maybe hit. It's going to push the yellow through the rings, and then the shooter is going to stick around 4 shots. So a bit of unluckiness for Team Blacksher with a heavy draw. But they do get another point on the board, making the score 7-4 as we head into the 7th end. Pause in the action. We'll be right back to the 2025 DoubleTakeout.com MoPac Championships. Updating sheet A with the other men's semifinal. Gilbert had the hammer in the 6th and converted with 2 to take a 6-3 lead over Team Pomeroy, both teams hailing from the Oval Curling Club of Utah. Pomeroy has the hammer down 3 in the 7th. More information is available at bondspieler.com. So about to get underway, back on our feature sheets. It's always great when my voice cracks. Team Blacksher is throwing first after scoring a single. It's currently a 7-3 game in favor of Team Malaret. These teams are playing for a berth in the championship game, set for about 12:25 this afternoon, Pacific Mountain Standard Time. As Marty is looking to put up a guard. We are kind of in the end game situation here. There's 2 more ends. However, in order to stay alive, Blacksher really needs to steal, and it needs to steal 2 in this end, or 2 or 3, and then steal the last end to force an extra end. And so Blomgren does put up the center line guard. As we see, I think Skylar Anderson's going to be asked to draw around. Skylar, noting his biography. Outside of curling in his work at the jail, Skylar participates in endurance events such as running and triathlons. He's also a passionate Utah Jazz fan and stays busy with his 2-year-old twins at home. And so he puts up a guard, actually. Skylar also, he's been curling for 3 years, and his appearances include being a C event runner-up at the Hive 2 years in a row, or over 2 years. And we have Marty's next rock, I think, looking to draw around the center guard. And so Marty, we talked about that he's kind of lucked out finding good teams to play for. His experience includes being at 5U Nationals 2 years in a row in 23-22, or 22-23. That's a good draw there from Marty. It's a little open, but not too bad. So Carl's going to ask for a heavy draw. Maybe a tap back. Marty's also been to Senior Nationals in 23, won the MoPac Senior Championship with Team Horseman this year at Tahoe. This is hanging up at wide. The question is it going to come back? I don't think so. Is it going to sit down? I think so. I was almost going to say I don't think so, but it sat down. Also, Marty was the winner of the Please Leave and Play Pickleball Award from OC Curling this year. As we have Hal pushed out of the hack. Hal's curling experience includes bronze medal at the 2025 5U Nationals. Also was at 5U in 2022. This is going to crash on the guard. I don't think they wanted offset guards, but maybe they did. So with the 5-rock rule over, Carl is going to play defensively, and it's kind of a weird way to think about it. But when you want to play defensively, you want less rocks in play, so you're going to try to do more hits. So a clearing shot from Jeff. That does run one of the yellows back into the rings and pushes the shot yellow to the side. So a pretty great outcome there from Jeff. Not sure who is shot. It looks to be Blacksher on the right side. And so it looks like Brown is going to either put up another guard or draw. Hal's also been to the Hot Shots Curling Camp in Welland, Ontario, won the Pat O'Reed Achievement Award. And has also been to a couple of 5U Bonspiels. Let me show you what I'm seeing. Going to put the guard back up. So So Malaret doesn't want Ross in play. Blacksher does want Ross in play to try to have a chance to steal. So it looks like Malaret is going to try to take out the yellow that's on the side here. So sweepers are called to switch. This is coming up light. So, oh, did they want the draw? Let me show you what I'm seeing. Okay, so I guess they opted for the draw. It looked like they were going for the hit. But maybe the rotation kind of tricked me. So that settles in the top 8 foot. And I don't think it's shot. It's hard to tell though, even looking at the overhead. But it does narrow the scoring area and establishes control of the center. And before we leave Jeff Oviatt, his bio says that he plays second. Thank you everyone for tuning in this morning. Just another reminder that our championship game is set for about 12:25 p.m. this afternoon, Pacific Mountain Standard Time. We will see one of these teams in the final, facing the winner of Pomeroy versus Gilbert. And they're taking a look at the rings right now. They've called their timeout. Let's see if we can listen in.
It over, and then I just had to carry a little bit. Yeah, don't put it next to my Gatorade. You're fine. Yeah, we just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, that's nice.
We got to be sitting too and maybe let's try to hang around this way first. You're back here, you can follow you.
10 seconds, Justin.
Okay.
What are you comfortable now? Okay.
Like this? Okay. All right.
So the timeout's over, the decision made. I think they're looking to draw in. I think we heard Justin McBride, their fifth in coach for this event, just basically saying they need to be 2 here. And that kind of echoes what I said at the start of the end, where they need to steal to have a chance to win or force an extra end. So Neil Hunter-Smith is first, and they also talking about when to call the timeout. They called it now with 4 rocks to go for each team, and so there's a chance to play some different strategies. I think this is a draw. I think they wanted to draw around, and this ends up being close to corner frozen on the red. It looks like Blacksher sitting 1 right now, and Carl's looking either hit and roll or guarding or a draw, and so I think they're opting for a draw, like a guard. As Trevor Dersch gets set. Trevor's been curling for 4 years. He started curling in the fall of 2020. He produces a YouTube series entitled Curling to the Tee with Trevor, where he talks about his experiences and training of newer curlers. And this is going to be a guard. The line is the most important part. Location is also key, as the Carl wanted it maybe like a couple rocks deeper, but it's going to settle into the gap and block the tap that Neil set up with his first. So good guard there from Trevor. As Hunter-Smith is going to be asked to draw the other side. And this is a side that they haven't been on much this end. We'll see what happens here. Went out a little wide on release. Line looks okay. They probably try to curl it back now, but the weight's too heavy to try to push it back. I got 1354, so this looks like it's going to go to the back of the rings, if not all the way through. As Carl jumps on it, it's going to push it to the back 12 foot. So 1354. I think T is still, like, T's now about like 14. Let's just say 14 even, maybe a little faster or a little slower than that. So a decent draw to put another Blacksher stone in the reins, and Dersh is going to be asked to draw around, follow Hunter Smith down. I think light's the miss. So Trevor also has been to multiple bonspiels where he's achieved results at almost every level. Was also part of the team that won the Olympic Day curling event involving the Ukrainian men's and women's curlers in 2022. Now, that was a fun event. I was there. I was on Trevor's team. I was skipping that team. And so that's a good draw front stone. They don't need to be shot. They just need to prevent Blacksher from scoring multiple points. And it looks like maybe one red right now. It's hard to tell. If it's not, it's going to be one yellow regardless. That is the messiest house we've seen this game. I was saying earlier that Carl was going to try to play defensively and hit rocks out of play. They moved away from that strategy fairly quickly when it got junked up, and that makes it kind of makes sense. Like teams either kind of play offensively or defensively, and then the best teams play both. And it sounds easy, but a huge part of the game is knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off in terms of offense, defense. And sometimes some people stick to their game until it's too late, and then they have to try to find a circus shot to bail out. And it's kind of, I think, come back to Blacksher today in terms of where they're finding themselves in situations where they're chasing. But with Adams first, this draw, it's looking pretty good. It's going to be good for shots. It is so close around the edge of the 8 foot. As Dersh takes a look at it, the overhead camera doesn't make it super clear. I mean, it might be one or two Blacksher, but it could also be one Malaret rock. It is extremely hard to tell. We might have a measure. So one room saying it looks one red, and that was my initial inclination, but who knows? And also the houses aren't necessarily precise. So if teams have a chance to do a measure, I think it's advised that they do the measure. So the broom's down for the draw. Maybe tap the red back or just follow Blacksher down and sit on top of it. They with so many stones in play, they found a path to the 8 foot, and that's all they need to score. So it's pretty fascinating. Let's do a time here for Malaret. Sweepers are kind of wave themselves off. So this is going to be more of a front stone, perhaps. I got 1454. And so basically Trevor didn't want to be shot necessarily. He wanted to basically close the door and kind of like freeze the situation where it's at. So let's call it a front stone, and I think that shot was made. So now Blacksher needs to steal hopefully 2 here. I don't know if they have a way in. Just take a look at the clocks real quick. Blacksher has 4 minutes 20 seconds, so they do have an okay amount of time. We noted at the start of the second half that they were a bit behind on time. Both teams were, but they've both since made up for that, which does allow the thinking time to try to find a way to the house with their last shot. So Adam Blacksher, I think, looking to hit the red and maybe tap the yellow further in. This is tight on the guard. It crashes on the guard, unfortunately. And so a miss there. And then now Malaret might be sitting 1. Blacksher might be sitting 2. Round and round we go. Where we stop, we don't know. I don't think Malaret wants to really disrupt the situation here. So I think at the very least he wants to do a tap the red up for a clear shot or second shot. Carl's talking things over with his front end. Has just under 5 minutes to play this shot and 1 more. Also, Malaret has not taken their timeout. So sitting maybe 1, Malaret delivers. Sweepers are signaling that I think it's maybe hanging a little bit wide. There might be some play on it. So it might hit the side, and it pushes it toward the button for a solid 1. So the shot paid up, or made it. And that's going to be all for this contest as Team Blacksher concedes the game. So it's at least 1, maybe 2. They did finish the end. As the head ice official, Kevin, knows, they do need to record a score. At the very least, it's 1. And, you know, the honor of the sport, we'll just say probably 1 and leave it at that. But you know, make the final in favor of Team Malaret. And they will be playing at 12:25 or so this afternoon as they kick the rocks. They're not really kicking the stones. They're pushing it back. Although one curling shoe manufacturer says don't kick the stones because the shoes were not made for kicking rocks, and it damages the toe cap and everything. So before we sign off, just a reminder and thanks to our sponsors, including doubletakeout.com. Updated throughout the competitive curling season with the latest results and statistical information. Viewers can check out to see how their favorite team stacks up against the top men's and women's teams from around the world at doubletakeout.com. And by curling.gg. Test your stip skills against your friends online at curling.gg. Free online curling platform with real physics simulation. Curling.gg. And by Endgame Curling, manufacturers of the Endgame travel handle, featuring a full carbon fiber handle engineered for convenience and fits most carry-on luggage. Endgamecurling.com. Before we sign off, I want to update the action on the other semifinal game where Team Gilbert was holding on to a lead, a 2-point lead. And they are holding on to, or I guess they had a 3-point lead at one point. We are in the 8th and final ends. Let me see if I can move the cameras over because why not? So I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Who got the, what was the final score? Was it 1 or 2?
It was 2.
Oh, it was 2? Okay.
It's final score 9-3.
Okay, sure. Thank you. All right, we have bonus coverage on sheet A as I update the scoreboard. Malaret did score 2 in that last end, so make the final 9-3. Some applause from the crowd. I won't say if it's Carl or not, but it was Carl. So Gilbert on our feature. Oh, they moved the rocks. All right, so Pomeroy is playing with the red rocks. No, Pomeroy is playing with the yellow rocks. No, Pomeroy is playing with the red rocks. All right, so we see Jerry St. James throwing. He's the second for Team Gilbert. The score is currently Pomeroy 4, Gilbert 6, and Gilbert has a hammer in this 8th and final end. Pomeroy needs to steal 2 here to force the extra. So Pomeroy is looking for places to hide. Has 2 in the range right now to the wings, but they're open. So Pomeroy, are we to skip stones already?
We're on skip stones already.
No, Pomeroy's throwing 3rd. So they did a lineup change. That threw me off. So looking for a guard. This is a little light. Let's see if it gets over the hog line. And it barely does. Yeah, you can change the order if you bring in a sub. When you bring in the sub, you can change things around. But otherwise...
Oh, like kind of like just like clinic teaching and stuff like that. For our local club, I do.
Okay. Okay.
So with Malaret winning, that means we're going to have an all oval final, which is exciting if you're an oval player. And so Gilbert, the skip for Team Gilbert is also throwing 3rd, and is able to clear one of the reds So Pomeroy needs 2 to tie, 3 to win, and it needs to steal. So Gilbert is a hitting team, so they need to find places to hide. I don't know if they've called their timeout. Let me yell down and see. All right, so Pomeroy did call a timeout as they talked about their situation. So one of these teams from the Oval will face Team Malaret from the Oval in the championship coming up at 12:25 Pacific Mountain Standard Time. For people in Utah, it's going to be about 1:25 Mountain Daylight Time, as Arizona is one of the states that does not observe daylight saving time. So this is a tough situation. The shot that they're taking, I think, is the one they need to. They need to find guards to hide behind, and so they're opting to hide behind the centered guard that Pomeroy put up with his first, as his rock is away, looking to draw, looking to sit shot in the rings. And Gilbert is doing a good job, again, playing defensively by keeping a clean house. And they basically are going to try to run Pomeroy out of rocks. And that draw is made. It's looking pretty good by Pomeroy. So Jerry is opting to ask Gilbert to clear the guard and take away that hiding spot. And then once that's done, there's only going to be one hiding spot after that. And that's going to be the guard on the right side. So the rock is away from Ramin Gilbert, the skip of Team Gilbert, otherwise known as Complete Sheet Show. And so now we are to the fourth stones. And it is a true fourth stones, not skip stones, because neither team has their skip throw fourth. It's not uncommon, but it's also rare to see both teams opt to have their skips throw in a different spot in the order. So looking to put up a guard to hide. This is light as even Pomeroy comes out to help sweep. They need to make sure it gets over the line, and it will go over the line. The question is it actually going to guard anything? And the answer is sort of. That was a team sweep there, and they had to get it over the hog line to beat any sort of useful rock. I haven't mentioned this yet, but obviously these are all arena teams. We play primarily on hockey or figure skating ice, and in fact, if you belong to a league that plays on dedicated ice, you're not eligible for this event. So thanks to Coyotes for hosting, even though we all acknowledge that unfortunately Coyotes players cannot be in this event. And then also wanted to note that Orange County is working to build her own dedicated ice facility, so they won't necessarily be eligible for this event in future years. More information on the fundraising campaign is at ocdedicatedice.com. That's ocdedicatedice.com. And then also, if people want to check out Dedicated Ice in Arizona, they have ice in about 9.5 months out of the year. And their last bonspiel of the season is the Hotter Than Hell bonspiel coming up in mid-July. More information available at coyotescurling.com. So we have David Hurst looking to peel out the red rock in the top of the rings, just to make it that much harder for Pomeroy to steal two. And maybe if they get lucky, they get them both going away. The shooter makes contact, and the shooter rolls away, as does the red rock. So now This situation is probably as good as it can get for Pomeroy, given how effective Gilbert is at hitting stones out of play. They're looking to draw around to hide the stone, and then Gilbert will likely try to either draw or take out one of the Pomeroy rocks to secure the win. So we have Brandon Malaret, who normally throws third. He was throwing fourth stones this game. That was a lineup change from when we saw them yesterday. So this needs to be shot to have a chance. As both sweepers jump on it, they need to make sure it gets in the rings. They need to make sure it's shot, or it's game over. And it will get into the rings, fairly well buried. So Pomeroy is sitting 2. They did the best they can with the situation. And so now Gilbert has the option to either draw for the win or hit for the win. If they miss and give up 2, timeout on the ice. Let's see if we can listen in. It worked before.
We threw it online. Yeah. I just had more room to like we go this way. We can play it like a little tighter, and then even the rub off. Yeah, those are not red. I like that. Let's go this way. Like 90, 95.
The timeout.
So the broom is down. I think we had some pretty good insight talking about what they wanted to do and how to approach it. And they are opting to go for their bread and butter shots, the takeout. So facing 2, needing to make one of the Pomeroy Reds go away. They're opting not to draw. It really depends on what the team's preference is. I like to draw, so I would probably draw for the win. Especially since the whole 8-foot is wide open for a draw. But in this case, David Hurst, the 4th for Team Gilbert, is opting to hit. And here we go for the win. David Hurst sliding down the ice, needing to make one of the Pomeroy Reds go away. And let me show you what I'm seeing. Sorry, guys. Oh, they did opt to draw. This is looking pretty good, maybe a smidge heavy, but it's going to settle right on the button. They caught me by surprise, but they do secure the win, make the final 7-4. Team Gilbert will advance to face Team Pomeroy at the championship. Malaret. I keep getting it wrong. I'm sorry.
You pronounce his name like different
But
ways.
you said Pomeroy.
I know. So I will correct it right now. Team Gilbert will face Team Malaret in the championship game.
Or you can say it in French like Malaret.
Apologize for misspeaking, but Gilbert is the winner. It's going to be an all-oval final. It should be pretty exciting. We do hope you will tune in at 12:25 Pacific Mountain Standard Time. That is 1:25 Mountain Daylight Time. Pretty hard-fought game all around. Definitely thanks to all the competitors. It will come down to 2 oval teams vying for a berth at the National Championships coming up this fall at Curl Vegas. So until about 12:25, again, Pacific Mountain Standard Time, we're going to sign off. But until then, on behalf of all of us here at MoPac, Coyotes Curling, and with thanks to our sponsors, doubletakeout.com, curling.gg, and Endgame Curling, this has been your host, Ryan Olson, saying so long, good curling, and see you this afternoon.